BionicDance is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Hi, I'm Brother Jason, and in this video I'll be discussing the way atheists dishonestly misrepresent and redefine faith and how this represents a double standard in their thinking.
It really doesn't, on all counts. Faith is blind, and there is no double standard. Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers. BionicDance here. Okay, first things first. Gotta get some technical details out of the way. Dude, learn to use a fucking microphone. Do you have any idea how much I had to boost your video's sound before it was anything like audible? Seriously.
Atheists will often define faith as something people have without any reason or evidence to support that belief. They think of it as a blind leap a person takes when they have no evidence for a belief. According to them, if you have evidence for a belief, then it wouldn't require faith to believe in it.
I can only speak for myself, but I can tell you that if faith didn't mean belief without evidence, I'd find another word that does. I use the word because it describes what I see, what experience and research have taught me about religious beliefs. So you can quibble over whether it's the right word if you like, but I'll be finding the one that fits the definition, not revising how I see religion because of the word being used. And while I find religious faith ridiculous, I'm not using the word specifically for ridicule, I assure you.
One wonders why such phrases as blind faith and leap of faith even exist if faith, by definition, supposedly already includes these ideas. Just the fact that faith can be defined as blind or as a leap in certain circumstances actually proves that these ideas are not actually a part of the definition of the word.
Do you truly believe that words have only a single definition or use? Because if you surf over to dictionary.com and look up faith, you'll find 9 of them, thus forcing us to choose the one most appropriate to the context, to the specific subject about which we're referring. And this context is describing the basis for one's belief in a religion. Specifying blind faith tells us that we're not just talking about confidence or using a synonym for religion. It's much like how adding an adjective to atheist can tell us the strength of one's conviction with regard to God's non-existence. Lots of people want just one word to do all of the heavy lifting and have separate terms for every possible scenario or subject. But language just doesn't work that way.
I suppose William Lane Craig should rename his ministry Reasonable Blind Leap Without Evidence.
Actually, he should name it Baseless Assertions and Circular Reasoning Ministries. Billy Craig is a tool.
But as a Christian, is my faith in God just a blind leap I take without evidence?
Isn't it? If you had sufficient data to prove God exists in ways which do not require blind faith, you'd probably have convinced more people long before now.
How does God himself define faith in his written revelation?
That's hardly important, or even relevant. First of all, the subject here is God's existence and belief in it. You cannot declare that God said something and have it taken seriously without having first shown that there really is a God, rather than the Bible just being religious fan fiction. Second, it really doesn't matter how faith is defined in your book. What matters is what people are doing in real life, what motivates or allows for religious beliefs, since it's obvious to even the most casual observer that empirical and objective evidence aren't part of the game. There is a reason God belief is likened to Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. It's not just ridicule. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. It's also a very valid comparison, because both rely almost entirely on stories and legends as their basis for existence, rather than hard data. Again, I use the word faith to describe what I see, not letting its definition determine my conclusions.
First of all, the Greek word that we translate faith in the New Testament is pistis, which means to be persuaded.
But to be persuaded how? That's the important part. And if we look up the word on almost any biblical study site, you'll find that it's being used to mean conviction or trust far more than merely persuasion. And this is why I've been calling myself an Apistevists since 2010. Wow, has it really been that long since I came up with that word? I do not rely on conviction or trust when it comes to gaining knowledge. Instead, I seek fact and verification through experimentation, a test which religion has invariably failed on every occasion.
And as we'll see in the Bible, people are not being persuaded to just take a blind leap, but are instead being told to believe on the basis of evidence.
And again, the Bible is either truth or legend. We have to be able to tell which, somehow. And yet, the Bible is so full of holes, contradictions, and verifiably untrue claims that belief in its truth is simply unjustifiable. Yet it's done anyway. And some people just don't even bother to do their homework, believing in the Bible just on its own say-so. Under such circumstances, using the blind definition of the word faith is more than justified. It's accurate. Okay, he goes on for a lot longer than this, pointing to people like Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ra, asking how they can be so ignorant, blah, blah, blah. What I wonder is whether he knows his video is a great big straw man argument and he's just being an ass, or if he is himself ironically ignorant of what atheists mean when we deride God-botherers for employing faith. Regardless, I'm out. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think.
Halt.